that's right, you were.
6 o'clock. You ready down this way?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
All right. We'd like to call the meeting to order. If you'd please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Trustee Burt.
Present.
Trustee Fabdall.
Present.
Trustee King.
Present.
Supervisor Miller.
Here.
Treasurer Klee.
Yes, ma'am.
Trustee Campbell.
Present.
And Clerk Triplett present.
Do we have any additions to this evening's agenda?
Yes.
Yes, a couple of them.
We have,
I have the proposals for the drop box for the elections.
so everybody has a copy of that?
Yes.
Yes.
That's going to be action item F. So I already
Or
put
E?
down, no, I already put down E for the fire chiefs.
Fire chief? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, F?
That's
Okay.
right. E should be the
Well, that's
turnout.
not, we didn't get there yet.
Sorry.
So F will be installed drop boxes. Is that good for you?
Yes, that's fine.
All right, and we have another one. You gave us an item,
Yes,
and everybody has a copy of it?
that's correct.
And that's going to be for the Ready Rack extractor washer?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other items for the agenda? I just wanted to say we're going to be a little flexible here in the beginning. We're waiting on someone to arrive, and traffic and the weather, I might have to rearrange a little, but that'll be okay. So do we have any, that's it for the agenda. Do we have any corrections to the minutes from the regular meeting, December 4th, 2023?
See here.
You down this way? No corrections? All those in favor of approving the minutes from December 4th signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those are approved. We're going to go on to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, I'd ask that you come to the podium and give us your name, and you'll have 4 minutes to address the board. Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Linnea Evans. Was there anything else that you needed me to say?
Nope.
Nope, okay. I'm here on behalf of the Evans family to ask the Board of Trustees for 2 basic but essential requests. First, a status update on your intent to update the township codes regarding animal control. And second, I formally request the board initiate a study on the resource allocation relevant to the enforcement of animal control codes. As you previously heard in meetings over the past summer, we have been contending with a family that has 4 to 6 dogs at their residence, and the dogs have run at large on numerous occasions. The dogs have pinned my mother on her patio, my father in his shed, and additionally, they have tried to attack another neighbor's dogs. So for over a year, my parents, who are both in their 70s, have been restricted and not able to access their own yard out of fear out of these dogs. We have called and sent letters to Animal Control, the Police Department, and both entities ignored direct emails and phone calls despite codes that suggest both have the purview to act, and I would add the responsibility. In August, we were able to finally convince the township to take the issue to court. The court ruled in our favor, but instituted a very weak ruling. The dogs need to be contained by a pin. Family did not effectively pin the dogs, and they continued to escape and run at large. After leaning on the township again with video footage, they took the issue back to court, and the judge ordered the dogs need to be rehomed, but they are allowed to visit at any time as long as they are restrained by a leash. We're talking 4 to 6 very large dogs that are either pit bulls or King Corsos. So restraining 4 to 6 dogs by a leash is not really a viable option. We believe the Tolberts will not comply. They have until December 25th, but clearly still have the dogs. And 2 of the dogs have entered our yard since that last court hearing. Thus, we're kind of left with this ongoing predicament. This is especially disconcerting because the township lawyer conveyed to me that while the township has the purview to remove the dogs, getting that to happen is unlikely when animal control is unresponsive, the police are not willing or equipped to remove the dogs. So we're here to ask you, now what? What's your plan regarding the codes, and where are resources being spent to actually address the issue of animal control?
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
Hi, I'm Mary Beth Seward, and I just wanted to give a end of year report on the volunteer gardening project, which my husband and I did at the Flint Township Police Station. I hope that you all at some time or other during the summer were able to get over there and see the gardens, because I think they look really nice overall. In April, the daffodils bloomed nicely. Neil cut down the ornamental grass, and I did some spring cleanup. The Heroes Plaza had been dedicated in November 2022, but there was no landscaping other than mulch. So Neil and I began to work on that area in May. Neil scraped off and moved 5 yards of mulch and piled it up on tarps behind the memorial. We then went to work amending the soil, adding compost and Wojo's mix. It was a huge job. The soil was much worse than we realized. It was all clay and rock-hard clay in many areas, as well as large chunks of concrete. In hindsight, we should have totally removed several inches of dirt and replaced it with good garden soil and compost, but it was too late for that, so we just did the best we could. The township purchased 15 flats of begonias from Mojo's Nursery in Davison. I had researched annuals, which we wanted for summer-long color, and felt that begonias were the least likely to be eaten by deer. So that's what we went with. I did all the planting, and Neil continued to add soil amendments and mulch the areas as I finished planting. He also placed bullet bricks all around the open borders of the beds. We also, during this process, began watering the area every day because the weather was hot and very dry. We finished the Heroes Plaza area on June 9th, and it looked very nice. Neil passed away on June 12th. I am so grateful to Sandy and Richard at the police station because they took over watering the new area because we still weren't getting much rain. Officer Chiza was also very helpful in getting some things going there too. Eventually it did begin to rain and they were able to water less. I weeded and took care of the other beds. For the first time, there was deer damage on several varieties of perennials, which had never occurred before. Several people I knew, as well as myself, were having the same problems in our own yards, and we surmised that because it was so dry, the deer were seeking moisture and eating tender plants, even ones that they didn't particularly like, I guess. Luckily, they did not eat those begonias, though. As it was early in the season, most of the perennials did recover and were shorter, but bloomed anyway, just later than normal. There was only one species that didn't bloom at all because of the damage. The begonias continued to grow and thrived for the most part, and were looking great, and all the beds looked good for National Night Out on August 1st. The hydrangeas at the end of the parking lot looked particularly beautiful this year. In the fall, I began cleanup of the beds and pulled all the begonias after a killing frost. My last day for this season working at the gardens was November 18th. Neil worked an amazing 61 and a half hours in the gardens, and I worked 81 hours there for a total of 142 and a half hours between us. I do plan to continue to volunteer at the gardens next year. However, I will need help. Also, I have a couple of observations for next year. The park and trails are very nice, but the trails that aren't paved are very muddy and in serious need of new wood chips. And there are also overhanging branches that need to be cut back along these trails. And people, when I was out there working, would mention that, you know. It's a nice park, and many people like to walk there, but some simple upgrades would make it nicer and more useful. This is the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you this evening. My name is Pete Guerreros. I have been a resident of Flint Township and Western Hill subdivision here in Flint Township.
Can I have you spell your name,
I'll
please?
spell it for you.
Thank you.
I couldn't even pronounce my name till I was 12, so I'll forgive you. First name is Petros, P-E-T-R-O-S. My nickname is Pete, so you can call me Pete if you want to address me. Last name is G-H-E-R-E-S-U-S. Reason I'm here tonight is that we're having a chronic problems, vehicles parking 24/7 in our neighborhood. Excuse me, I just came back from the dentist, so my conversation may not be audible. So, and we have met with Officer Chisholm, and we stopped at the police department several times. And here, my friend Anthony, he calls all the times of the night. He calls me, and I told him, listen, don't wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning because I got work to do. But we're concerned because it's a beautiful neighborhood, and we want to keep it that way. And in the last, when we got our tax bill this year, we got a newsletter that says there should be no parking between 2 a.m. and 7 a.m. in the morning, but vehicles continually park on the streets. And sometimes there are people that walk over there, and there are curves in there, so they could potentially injure some people as well or kill them. And so we are asking you if there's any way that maybe you can send a message somehow and try to, and the most annoying thing is that these people have enough space in their driveway to park their vehicles. So there's no reason for them to park their vehicles on the streets, 24/7. So we just pleading to you, and hopefully we don't keep calling and irritating people for that. So we appreciate your cooperation. Question? So,
Did you have a question?
What streets? Can we get streets?
Western Hills. I know, is it Anthony, you live on Tumbleweed, right?
I live on Wooden Spoke Trail.
Wooden Spoke Trail.
A Wooden Spoke Trail between Covered Wagon and Spring Barrel.
And your street, sir?
It's Hickory Hollow Drive.
Oh, I lived on Hickory Hollow Court. All righty. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Last name Pettigrew, first name Michael, 1414 Hickory Hollow Drive. I do partner with the statements that's being made in reference to the cars that are there overnight. And now, since Hickory Hollow Drive is a main strip, you know that, I see a couple of mobile homes that are there. And I think instead of the residents having to go, I think they should receive some type of information in reference to they should know when they can and cannot park. You know, and many of you that drive past there, many of times you know that it's a nice strip. That's one of the areas where a lot of people exit and enter. So if we can have something done, and mine's also the level of the music that's being played as well. It's been like, I've been there for probably over about 11 years, maybe close to 13 in that area. But I would like to see something being done. I think if we did this in a professional and a reasonable manner, something can be done. End of my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Miller.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
My name is Gerald Roberts, live in Flint Township.
Sorry. That was from the last one.
You're done, Jerry.
You're done.
I got 4 minutes
Am
for
I
you.
having a time warp, or what is it?
I got 4 minutes for you.
You walked a little faster.
Ready?
Can I start now?
Sure.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
At the last meeting, I complained about trustees being missing from their jobs. And I asked the supervisor and also the treasurer, I had requested that the amount of money that they were being paid for the 22 meetings, board meetings, and that they had missed was approximately $350 a meeting or thereabouts. And could be off a little bit on that. And I said, do the right thing. If you didn't work it, then basically give the money back to the township. I asked if any checks had been received, and I think treasurer and also supervisor said no checks being received. I'm gonna give you a little parable, okay? We'll say that there was a real special supper coming on. And for the ladies, we'll say Tom Cruise was there, or a real handsome guy. And so you ladies decided that you wanted to look real nice. So you went to the beauty shop and got an appointment to get your hair done. So you would look real nice at that particular meeting. Now, do you think that you would miss that hair appointment to go to that meeting? I say no. There's vanity. I want to look good for that handsome young man that's going to be there because I want to impress him, right? Why don't you take that same analogy, come into one of our meetings here and not miss the meeting and not charge the taxpayers here in your salary on a monthly basis that you get paid for, that you really didn't work for and you didn't deserve it. I think the 2 or 3 people, maybe 2, up there know who I'm talking about. If you don't work, do the right thing, and if the state says, oh, we can't dock that, you can write out a check. Write a check over here to the fire department. They could use it as equipment for that amount of money that you got paid that month or the meeting that you missed. It's just doing the right thing. Did I get through? Do you? I hope so.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? No? We'll move on. Okay, I'm sorry.
Devin Stiff, The Dive Shop, G4020 Corona Road, and a resident of the township. Just a couple things. I know that you guys voted it down a few months ago about putting the name change of the township on the vote in November to let the residents make that decision. Jerry Preston worked really hard for 4 years. A few other people worked really hard at that, but there was 3 or 4 people here that on the board that chose not to. Instead of being the fiduciaries and doing what the township residents wanted, you chose to make it your decision to not put it on the vote. And I still press on that you're going to do the right thing and you're going to put it on the next vote around. I think there was some people that worked really hard for that. And but a few stubborn people took it upon themselves to make it their decision not to do that. And you know, there's 7 people against 31,000 other people, or 30-some thousand people in this township. So I think that you guys should reconsider that when it comes up for vote the next time, that you're going to put it on the ballot and do that. The other one is the budget. I took about 8 hours now of looking at this budget. I don't know how far you guys are with the budget, but I hope all of you have looked at the budget. Each and every one of you have looked at this budget. And I hope that you guys, when you looked at the budget, I hope that you didn't go to bed that night or in the last few nights. I hope you didn't get any sleep. And I hope the residents, they picked up that budget that was sitting out on that table, and I hope they at least looked at it. And I don't know, I look at it as a businessman, and it's scary. I hope that they looked at it too. But I hope that you people sitting up here right now looked at that budget and can understand what it's like. I couldn't run a business with that budget sitting in front of me on my desk. I would be scared to death. I wouldn't be in business. I would be very seriously thinking about closing my doors. You guys got employees. I don't know how the police chief can sit down and look at that budget with his officers. I've talked to the fire chief. He's got a very small group of people that he's got to worry about. I don't know how you guys can do it. I really don't. And I don't know how you can think about doing this budget this year without the thought of what in the world you're going to do next year. And I have nothing else to say. I'm done.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? No. We will move on to, we have a special presentation this evening. And I'm going to ask Chief Salter if he would introduce the presenters tonight.
Yes, I can. Tonight we have two guests from the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police, Executive Director Bob Stevenson and Deputy Director Ron Wallace, both retired Chief of Livonia and Grand Lake Township.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the introduction, Madam Supervisor and trustees and township officials, and most importantly, the citizens of Flint Township. My name is Robert Stevenson, currently the Executive Director with the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police. I've been honored to hold this position for 11 years, and prior to that, I did spend a 37-year police career in the city of Livonia, and the last 7 as chief. And I'm here tonight representing the Michigan Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission to make a special presentation of accreditation to the Flint Township Police Department. It's really my honor to be here to do this presentation. Accreditation is a significant professional achievement. I know that I've been around this state and I've seen many, many police departments over the last 11 years, and not all police departments are created equal. You have an excellent police department here, but I will tell you that your police department is better having undertaken the process of accreditation. As I said, I left Livonia 11 years ago. They were not accredited at that point in time. They have since gotten accredited, and I'm here to confess, if you will, that police department, Livonia, is a better police department after achieving accreditation, just like your police department is a better police department because of accreditation. To put this a little bit in perspective, in the state of Michigan, there are 589 police agencies. Out of those police agencies, just shy of 400 are municipal police agencies. We have 83 county sheriffs. And then the rest of the police agencies are made up of tribal police and hospitals and universities and schools and such. Out of the some 600 police agencies in the state of Michigan, your police department is the 65th police department to attain accreditation. To put that just in a little bit different spin, your police department has done what almost 90% of the other police departments in this state have not done. And I'm extremely proud of them for undertaking this. It's a voluntary process. Takes many years for most departments to attain. I think everybody knows that over the last few years, the police profession has come under criticism, and there have been calls for what they call police reform. I'm here to assure you and your citizens that of the police reform calls that are out there, your police department has voluntarily attained everything that they've called for in police reform. And probably more importantly than that, they started this process before a lot of those calls for police reform started around this country. And I think that them to step up and do that voluntarily is just a tremendous accomplishment. I'm proud of them. Hopefully you're proud of them. I look forward to the day that all the police agencies in Michigan have attained this significant achievement. So we are here to award this tonight. We don't give these awards out. They're earned. And it's a lot of work, and I would like to introduce retired Chief Ron Wiles. He's a program director, to explain a little bit to you and your residents what your department, what the Flint Township Police Department had to go through to attain this. Ron?
Well, good evening. It is my pleasure to be here and celebrate your police department. It's good to be back in Genesee County. As Chief Salter said, I did my law enforcement career in Grambling Township. The last 6 years there as the chief of police, and upon retirement came over to the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police, where I now serve as the deputy director and the accreditation program director. You're all somewhat familiar with accreditation. Your kids go to accredited schools. When you're sick or need medical attention, you go to accredited medical facility or hospital. Accreditation for law enforcement is no different. It's a progressive, time-proven way to improve service and performance of a law enforcement agency. And by achieving that, that's just what the Flint Township Police Department did. It is a significant professional accomplishment. And as Executive Director Stevenson said, we don't give these out. These are earned. Let me kind of walk you through the process of what the department had to do to obtain this. For a lot of agencies, the first step is the hardest, is to make the decision to do it, to apply for accreditation. As mentioned, this is voluntary. No one's making them do it. They do it to provide a better level of service, to better their agency, to provide service and performance to the residents of Flint Township. The second step, probably the most important step, self-analysis period. We don't give these out, they are earned. We give agencies 2 years to perform self-analysis. And that's when they go through their current written directives or their policies and procedures and compare them against 108 professional best practice standards. And I can guarantee you when they first started doing this, their current written directives did not match up with our standards. I guarantee it. It takes a lot of work to do that. Besides making their directives and their standards match, they also have to prove it. It's one thing to say you do it, but you have to be able to show that you do it. And you show that in accreditation through providing proofs. They had to provide proofs for each of the standards, all 108 standards that were applicable to their agency. Now inside those standards, there's bullet points. So there's about 600 proofs that the agency had to comply with to show compliance and meet the standards of accreditation. Once they get that, they feel that they're in a good spot, they call for a voluntary mock assessment where some assessors come in, they take a look at it, they give them some, probably criticism is a good way to do it, to say it, about where they are actually, and I can guarantee you that when that mock assessment came in, they were not near ready for accreditation. There was a lot of feedback that they were given to achieve this and become in compliance. When they take that feedback and they make whatever changes they want to make, they contact me and I set up the final on-site assessment. I send a team of assessors to the Flint Township Police Department from outside the area, trained assessors, and they go top to bottom of the department, making sure that the written directives and the 108 standards are in compliance. They do ride-alongs with the officers, they talk to the chief, and I'm sure they probably spoke with some of you during the process. They speak with union representatives, patrol officers. They have a public call-in session where residents can call in and talk about the police department, all to find out what Flint Township Police Department is all about. After that final assessment, they have a commission hearing in front of the MELIAC commissioners, the Michigan Law Enforcement Accreditation Commissioners, and they sit down and answer a series of questions about the process, about their police department, about their community. Based on that final report and that interview, the commission decides if they should be granted full accreditation. And I'm happy to say in this case, the commission did grant them full accreditation. As mentioned, they're the 65th agency in the state of Michigan to achieve this. However, the work's not done. Based on accreditation, they made a promise. They made a promise to their officers. They made a promise to you, the elected officials of Flint Township. And most importantly, they made a promise to their residents. So to keep that promise, in 3 years, I'm going to send another team of assessors out here to make sure that they are still in compliance. But now the work's a little bit different because now we have 128 standards, not 108. So as I often say, law enforcement is one of those professions that changes, most rapidly changing profession out there. And that's why we have 128 standards now. So they'll have to comply with 128 standards, show proofs of compliance for all 3 years before the assessors come back, and then they'll go in front of the hearing commissioners again to seek reaccreditation. I couldn't be more proud of Flint Township Police Department. You know, as I mentioned, I'm from Genesee County. I did my career here. I'm proud of the law enforcement that's conducted here in Genesee County, and I'm very proud of Chief Salter and his team for what they've accomplished here. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Executive Director Stevenson for the presentation.
Chief, if you would join me up here, please. While the chief's coming up here, I would like to say one more thing. I would like to thank all of the township officials for your support for this process. It doesn't get done without some financial backing, and we appreciate that you support your police department. And I just wanted to thank you for everything you did. So with that, Chief.
Of course, the rest of my team's here.
Oh, you'll get a chance.
Okay, good.
First we'll give you, then we'll turn it right over to you. So with that, To all who see the certificate, know that the Flint Township Police Department, having voluntarily complied with the standards established by the Michigan Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission, deemed essential for the delivery of professional police services and the protection of their community, is hereby awarded the Certificate of Accreditation effective the first day of October in the year of 2023 for a term of 3 years. Chief, congratulations.
Of course. Lieutenant Wangler is our NEMCHEC, Lieutenant Van Lente. Lieutenant Wangler was assigned, he actually volunteered because he wanted to do it, so they had the accreditation manager. Inside joke, but again, without these guys here, these guys are the ones that made it happen, with the rest of my police department too, of course, and the civilian help that we have. Without these guys, it could not have happened. So again, I want to say thank you to these guys. These guys are the ones that make it happen for me.
Tighten up, guys. Tighten up. Tighten up. There you go.
Okay.
Gentlemen?
Oh, that's a good shot.
We need one for us in our magazine.
You guys do the end cap.
Oh, you guys need to come in here too.
Smile, gentlemen.
Thanks, sir. Oh, yeah, no problem. 7-3's beautiful.
I'm sure it is.
All righty. Thank you very much. It's good to see you. So we're going to move on to reports. I don't have a long report this evening. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas as coming up. I wanted to let our residents know there are days that the township are going to be closed next week and the following, and I would just recommend give a call if you wanted to set an appointment or talk with someone. Make sure that we're open. Our drop boxes are open if you need to drop a payment off for taxes or for water bill. But with Christmas and New Year's coming up, our offices will be closed on several days, so give us a call. I wanted to thank Mary Beth. I didn't know that you're going to present that information tonight, but I wanted to tell everyone that Mary Beth is a master gardener, and we definitely needed your expertise and the number of hours and the hard work and sweat. And I know there were days I told you to go inside because it was way too hot to be digging up that clay dirt outside. But you and Neil did a lot of hard work, and it's beautiful. And I wanted to say, on behalf of the board, thank you very much for all the work that you've done. We're very grateful, and we miss Neil too. Thank you. That's all I have on my report this evening. Madam Clerk, do you have a report this evening?
So for the upcoming presidential election, it will be February the 27th. With the new proposal in place, there will be 9 days of early voting starting February the 27th through the 25th. We will have it here in the community room.
Can you repeat that?
February the 17th through February 25th.
Thank you.
We will be having the 9 days of early voting. That is including weekends. So if anyone is interested in possibly becoming an election inspector, we are taking more people. We will need all the hands that we can get, our hands on deck. Other than that, I have no further report.
Thank you.
Thank
Excuse me?
I'm getting there, Mr. Treasurer.
Madam, Mr. Treasurer, I will not jump the gun as I did last week. I apologize. I have one item, next down, number 9. I'm good.
All righty.
Other than, sorry.
Are there any trustee reports?
I do have one. I'm sorry. I'm going to back up. I'm sorry, guys. I want to reiterate what everyone on here is going to say. The holiday season is a wonderful time. Enjoy yourself with your families and your friends, and just be safe. Those two gentlemen just talked about slippery roads, and you know, the guys, they always talk about wearing your seatbelts and all those good things, and just don't do anything stupid on the roads out there. It's just too dangerous. But enjoy your time and be safe.
Thank you. Trustee reports? Go ahead.
I do tonight. It is with deep regret, after considerable thought and observations, that I am resigning from the Flint Township Board effective 12/31/23. There are several reasons for this decision, including undue stress for my health, past issues in the last 3 years. Some of the frustrations include not getting agenda until usually late Thursday to be able to research changes and review a little bit more. I have serious concerns about our building department. The building inspector, I found out, had approved different buildings such as Captain Cody's, the gym, Scratch Barbecue, that were not approved by the fire department, and not meeting fire codes. That's a huge concern. The board had approved ARPA checks over during our time frame for fire chief, for the departments, for the fire and police department, and for employees. Stuart Worthing received an ARPA check for $5,000 without board approval, and I don't believe that was investigated. There was also another check given to him recently that was, I think, quite a bit above his contract, stated what he was supposed to get. And then recently found out that the deputy supervisor gets a stipend, which was not voted on. So I know that the clerk and treasurer's department are mandated by the state to get stipend. And one of my other concerns was we had set up a Zoom meeting with a grant writer that has really a great track record. She's had found $7 million for Mundy Township for one, but she has done it for almost 20 to 25 years. She really had a lot of experience, but it wasn't followed upon, which was very disappointing to me. And last week, I did submit a FOIA just to find out how many lawsuits that we have had and the reasons for the lawsuits. So I believe we would be better off with an attorney present at our meetings, so that sometimes if we make a motion or we do something that's maybe not the best thing for the board to do, but an attorney would stand up and say, I believe they would correct us. So I sincerely want the best for township residents, employees, and the board. And that's it.
Any other trustees' reports? No? Move on to staff reports.
Oh, we have, I think we already talked about Welcome Santa for the last meeting, but we are continuing with our Small Business Saturdays and the remotes that we have going on. This weekend we'll be at Split Mitt and Vehicle City Harley, and I believe they're gonna do Twisted Burger. I'm not sure what they're doing as the third one yet. I haven't gotten confirmation from them that it's okay for them to be there yet. So that's going on. The reimbursement for the ARPA grant that we got for the generators was submitted today. We have been working also on the sign, moving the sign on Miller Road to Corona Road. That's getting underway, as well as getting the new sign up on Miller Road. I'm trying to think what else. The public information report that we presented last week is available online on our website and also on our YouTube station for Discover Flint Township. And I think that's about it.
Chief Salter, do you have a report this evening?
Yes, ma'am, I do, thank you. Since our last board meeting, your police department's responded to over 1,100 calls. That number includes 56 disorderlies, 59 domestics, 3 persons with a gun, 4 shots fired, and 32 unknown troubles. Again, that number does not include the 292 traffic stops, 97 business checks, and 67 residence checks. I think I mentioned it before, but I'm going to mention it again. I studied the first 3 quarters of 2022 compared to the first 3 quarters of 2023. Our call volume went up from 24,700 to 27,700, which is an increase of over 3,000 calls in a 9-month period. Last week we had a shots fired call where approximately 50 shots were fired. 3 cars were hit and 2 trailers were hit. Luckily, no one was hit. And by the time we got there, all of the parties had left, and right now there are no suspects. It's still under investigation. There's a single car fatal accident on Monday, December 11th on Beach Road near Dye Road. The driver was deceased inside the vehicle when we arrived. We were assisted by our fire department and the sheriff's office, and that crash is still under investigation. Last weekend, there was a B&E, a breaking and entering of one of our local businesses. Over $200,000 worth of equipment was stolen, from tools to trucks to trailers. Thanks to the hard work by our detectives and patrol, and working with our auto theft unit, we were able to make numerous arrests to recover the majority of the equipment that was stolen. In addition, we recovered thousands of dollars of equipment and cars that was stolen from a different jurisdiction. So it was a great work by all involved in that case. Last week, we had 2 different events that we participated in. The first one was a Shop with a Cop at Walmart. We partnered with Walmart and the Boys and Girls Club of America. We were able to pair everyone up with an officer. And it's amazing that almost all of them bought gifts for different family members before they bought gifts for themselves, so which is really good. The next day, we partnered up with the fire department in Clayton Township PD and the Whaley's home, and we did the same thing at Target. I know I mentioned before our Beards for Kid fundraiser. We raised almost a total of $1,800 for that event that we do every year. The money's going to be used to help make the Christmas even better for a selected family. Again, we're going to do that this week on Thursday, so it's great that we get to do that. It's one of the things I love to do. You get to see the joy in the kids' eyes and the family that help them out for the Christmas. And I do want to say I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. That concludes my report.
Chief Beckley, do you have a report for us this evening?
I do, thank you. Since the last board meeting, your fire department has responded to 49 incidents. This does include 1 structure fire call, 2 vehicle fires, and 2 vehicle accidents with entrapments in the last 2 weeks. On the 6th, we responded to a commercial fire alarm in the 4400 block of Bristol Road. This was in the multi-story commercial buildings in that area. While we were responding to that call, we received 911 calls from inside the building stating that there was heavy smoke inside one of the units there. Fire crews arrived to find a bathroom fan in the area above it that was on fire. Luckily, the fire was contained to this area, and due to the quick response, we were able to keep that problem small. Crews were on scene for quite a while to ventilate all of the smoke out of that building, but overall minor damage. On the 8th, we responded to a vehicle fire with somebody trapped inside of it call in the area of Miller Road and Dye Road. Initially, this call came in as an unknown jurisdiction call, whether it was ours or in Swartz Creek. Luckily, one of our off-duty fire officers was in the area, off-duty that day in his own vehicle when this call came in. He immediately stopped and rendered aid. He was actually able to enter the vehicle, which was on its side, and remove the victim prior to anyone else arriving on scene in a matter of about a minute after the dispatch. I'd like to say great work to Sergeant Joshua Clements, who no doubtly saved someone's life that day. So great work, Josh. On the 11th, we responded to a reported fire at River Forest Apartments. This was a food on the stove on fire. Luckily, this again was kept very small and very minor damage. On the 15th, we responded to a semi-truck on fire eastbound 69 at Bristol. Fire crews arrived to find the cab area of a semi completely engulfed in fire. We were assisted on this incident by Swartz Creek Fire Department due to not having a whole lot of personnel on scene and needing additional water on scene. So I'd just like to say thank you to Swartz Creek for their help there. And again, I'd like to say congratulations to now Sergeant Josh Clements, who as of December 6, 2023, completed his 6 months of probation with us. So just like to say congratulations to him. An update where we are year to date on our calls. As of today, we are at 1,313 calls for service, which is the busiest year on record in our fire departments. Last year total, we ran 1,137 total incidents, so we are about over 200 calls ahead of where we were this time last year. And again, it's just been a busy year. I'm just going to keep saying this every meeting. We are in desperate need of additional firefighters. If anyone's interested in becoming an on-call firefighter in our department, please come see us, come talk to us. You get paid, training's provided, equipment's provided. Please come help us. At this point, we have 10 on-call firefighters in our department. So we are really in desperate need of some help there. And we do have a couple action items on the agenda tonight, and just like to say happy holidays to everybody as well. Oh, I do have one more thing I want to touch on. Just like to say great job to the partnership here between our police department and fire departments. We did have a arson case earlier last week that was set to go to trial and ended up settling out of trial, I guess I would say. I'm not sure the exact wording here, Chief, but this person did end up pleading to an arson charge in the case. So again, great work between our fire investigators, our police department, on making sure that, you know, if you're committing these crimes here, we're going to do the best we can. So great job. That partnership is really key. So thank you.
Thank you. Controller Kevin McIntyre, do you have a report for us this evening?
No, just the budget, we cover it.
Alrighty, we're gonna move, we don't have a committee report. We're gonna move on to payment of bills. Mr. Treasurer?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. At this time, I know all of you have received the request to pay the bills, and I will respectfully state the resolution in the fact that this evening, two places, sorry. All my stuffs. Motion to approve the payment of the invoices and/or disbursements in the amounts of $1,784,388.83, as authorized by the board's purchasing policy. And also, in addition, would be distributions in the amount of $182,913.08 for a total of $1,967,301.91 in both invoices and tax disbursements along that. With and outside of that resolution includes $1,209,785.45 to payments to the Genesee County Drain Commission.
So is that your motion to pay the bills?
It is.
Is there a second to the motion? Or, I'm not sure who's.
Who said it first?
I don't care.
So we have a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $1,784,388.83. Any discussion on that? Questions for Mr. Treasurer? Hearing none, roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Treasurer Klee?
Yes, ma'am.
Trustee Fabdal?
Yes.
Trustee Vert?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Trustee Campbell?
No.
And Clerk Triplett?
Let's see, we're at number 10. Are there any correspondence or informational items, Madam Clerk?
No.
Move on to action item A, deputy stipends. A motion is in order to move forward.
We would move to accept the resolution as presented.
That's to increase the deputy stipend to $7,500, up from $5,000. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? It was mentioned that, Deb, you mentioned it, about deputy supervisor receiving a stipend. The township board, if you'd looked in the minutes, voted on creating a deputy stipend for the supervisor's deputy back in '07. So just like it's established for the clerk, deputy clerk, the deputy.
Had an exception in '07.
They voted on it, it wasn't rescinded, and it's not because it's by law that they have to have it. We didn't
By
vote.
law, it's the treasurer and the,
By law, they have to have one. We don't have to pay them. This board chose to pay them. And the board chose to pay the deputy supervisor a stipend back in '07 or I think '06 or '07. I have the minutes on my desk.
Well, it might need to be relooked at.
So is there any further discussion?
Yes, one is that we do have some minutes from a meeting back in, I don't even know when, I don't know the date on it. It's when Belinda Parker was here also, and I don't know the reference to this. And, let's see, also, I am the deputy supervisor. And it was mentioned from the attorney that Karen should have one. Okay? And that's how that came about. And for the first 2 years, I didn't accept any money because I couldn't say where it went. It had to go in the general fund, and I didn't like that. If it wanted to go to the gardens, I'm okay with it. And recently, I started to take it. So that's where we're at with that. And nobody has ever asked me, and I don't think the supervisor, to have any discussion ever, but just listen to in-house gossip. And I'm tired of it. Also, if you want to give $2,500 more to this, that includes me, which I'm voting no on this, good luck with the contract talks. It's not needed.
Is there any further discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Righty then. Treasurer Klee.
Sure.
Supervisor Miller.
Yes.
Trustee King.
No.
Trustee Fabro.
No.
Trustee Burt.
No.
Clerk Triplett, yes. And Trustee Campbell.
No.
So the noes have it, and that motion fails. We'll go on to action item B. Chief Beckley.
Thank you. We've received a letter from the Flint Township Civil Service Commission with two eligible candidates for promotion to captain. The names received from the Civil Service Commission are Gerald Ruby and Ryan Pierce. Sergeant Ruby has served at the Flint Township Fire Department for 27 years. He began as an on-call firefighter in July of 1996 and was hired as a full-time firefighter in September of 2017. Sergeant Pierce has served with our department for almost five years. He began here as a full-time firefighter in January 2019, but has extensive experience prior to here also. Both of these gentlemen have served with dignity and honor in our departments, and I would like to recommend the Township Board of Trustees approve the promotion of Sergeant Jerry Ruby and Sergeant Ryan Pierce to fire captain effective December 19th, 2023. One of them is here. Sergeant Ruby's back there in the back.
Clee would move to accept the recommendation as presented for the promotions of Sergeant Ruby and Sergeant Pierce to the promotion of captains with the Flint Township Fire Department.
Is there a second to the motion? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the motion to promote Jerry Ruby and Ryan Pierce to the position of fire captain signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? That stands.
Thank you, Bart.
Congratulations. Pay attention.
I think they're all on duty tonight.
Action item C is the this year's budget amendment. Kevin, did you want to say anything on it?
They're just budget amendments. We're over budget on all those line items. We just need to amend the budget to increase the lines. And because last year we had some issues with revenues not being high enough in our budget, first ones are budget adjustments to increase revenue to account for the ARPA dollars that we are using.
So you have the information in front of you, and the motion has to be stated as it is on this page with the department and the amount.
We would move to accept it, the motion as presented, to approve amendments, and I quote, to the 2023 budgets for additional revenue and expenditures in the General Fund Revenue Department 000 for $1,527,000 in General Fund Election Commission, in the General Fund Election Commission Department 262 for $30,000, in the General Fund Fire Department, item 336, line item, for $875,000, in the General Fund Trade and Inspections Department, item number 372 for $35,000, In the General Fund Public Works Department, item 446, to the tune of $2,285,000. In the General Fund Library Department, item line 790 for $16,000. In the Municipal Street Fund, item number 204 for $903,000. In the Fire Equipment Fund, item number 206 for $482,000. And in the Police and Fire Millage Fund, item number 211, and the Fire Department, item number 336, for $105,000, and I unquote.
Thank you. We have a motion to, can someone give us a second to the motion?
Second.
Any further questions or discussion on the budget amendments for, that's presented?
Where does
Kevin,
that put us now, Kevin, on the deficit?
A lot more revenue that's scheduled to come in, and there's like of expenses that can come in, so it's depends on how things fall, but
It's looking better than we thought a few weeks ago at that.
We're going to see that in about 5 minutes.
Right, exactly.
Madam Clerk, roll call. And if there's no further discussion, roll call, please.
Trustee King,
Yes.
trustee Campbell,
No.
Supervisor Miller,
Yes.
Treasurer Clee,
Yes.
trustee Fabdall,
Yes.
trustee Burt,
Yes.
and clerk Triplett, yes.
Thank you.
You left yourself off.
Action item D is the 2024 Budget Appropriations Act Resolution. Did you want to say anything on that?
it's just the appropriations, we kind of all went over the budget. I gave you new copies of it because it changed from the last time, because we've been discussing, things were added, but this is
Excuse me.
budget. Right now, I think it's negative 600,000 is what we're projecting. It's just gonna chew up a big chunk of our fund balance, and we're going the wrong direction.
We're spending too much money.
That's definitely the wrong direction.
The dollars coming in, we're working on it, but
question
they're
now,
not
or
all here yet.
what?
So, we need a motion on the table, and then we get started asking questions. Unless do you want to ask him?
No, I'm good. We'll wait. I won't.
Does anyone want to make a motion to approve the Appropriations Resolution Act?
We would move to approve the Appropriations Act as presented by our financial manager.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
So go ahead, trustee Burt, you have a question?
Kevin, say in the past 7 years, there were any investments, any? Like throw out any number, what we could have?
So it's difficult to put an exact number on it, but if we had invested any kind of money, you're talking up until the last year or so, you'd maybe get 1% on your money. So if you invest $1 million, that's $10,000 a year. The last year or so, it's been more like 5%, where you could get $50,000 investing on $1 million. Had several, $5-6 million that we could have invested, so 100,000 would be.
Can you repeat that, please?
Be about 100 to 200,000 loss for money that we have not invested.
Any other questions? No? We have no questions.
Yeah, one more. So, and how much does economic development play in this?
Sure what you mean, like,
Well, we need a lot of that to get business here and to maintain businesses, correct?
Obviously, we generate our tax revenue based on the taxable values of homes, that kind of thing. Have vacant buildings that are unoccupied, there's no tax dollars coming in for those things.
So, any other questions?
Yeah, is it safe to say that our expenses have went up and the revenue has went down due to?
Our revenues have been stagnant for years. Like, we've had almost no increase. The last couple years, well, this last year was the exception where we had the 5% increase due to the rate of inflation. And next year, I think they're projecting another 5%. So that does help with our revenues, but the offset is vastly more expense, like fuel costs are way up. You have 9% inflation and your revenues only go up 5%, you're in the 8 ball. Our costs for retirement is a major expense that's went from, I think it was 400,000 to it's like 1.6 million in the last 10 years. It's just a
big jump.
It's a straight, almost vertical line. It's just continually going up, 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 up. No, don't start putting some money towards it or change what we're doing.
So our revenue's been stagnant for at least 12, 13 years.
Yeah, it's just about 10 million is when it's been. The last couple years, we've got ARPA dollars where we had the money for the road that came in. There was $1 million that we were given for the roads, and then $3 million in ARPA. So it makes our revenue projection looks better, but it's artificially inflated just because that was money that was given to us, not anything sustainable, taxable values increase, that kind of stuff. It's, much like when you get a grant. You get a grant for this year, but what do you do next year? To buy things and get things, but personnel is where our costs are, and health insurance goes up.
Well, there we go. Can you hear now? Yeah. So, our revenue for 2024 is expected to be $11.7 million. For 2023, it was $11.3 million. We got grant dollars and $3.2 million in ARPA dollars for 22, so that throws off the trend. It was 11.4 in 21, it was 10.4 in 20, it was 10.3, and we have increased from 10 million roughly, but now we're gonna have 11.7, so it's gone up the assessed values have gone up 5%.
Yeah, we have increased, like I said, the rate of inflation when it's that high pushes a 5% cost taxable value increase, so get a 5% increase in revenues, and that offset is.
Any further questions for,
Yeah, the state share revenue is same thing. They had all the ARPA dollars, they were millions of dollars they were giving away, so our state share revenues went up. Go back down to where they are, the more consistent with how it's been.
Is it safe to say that with some of the things that we've discussed in the budget meetings, like with the treasurer making some valid investments that hasn't been done in a while, I know that we are increasing, adding some things to our fee schedule, different things that we're doing on our end as a township board. Will some of those things, I know we talked about that, but that will help to offset some of those?
Every little bit helps. I mean, we're not gonna be able to fee our way out of this.
Right.
We can increase the fees and some of the stuff that we've talked about. The more that we do, the more services that we provide there, we would have to charge for. Yes, your revenues can go up, but you have $500,000-$600,000 deficit. We're not gonna be able to charge enough.
And I know that there is some fees that, as the township, we haven't increased. We've left them like that for like 15, 20 years.
Yes, we
Where-
Most of
definitely
them
have
have
some
been
stagnant
increased.
rates.
Where
that
we
need to-
have actually had an increase on our end.
There's definitely rates that we need to increase and look at and review and say, you know, might have been fine 20 years ago, but now this much more. Like it's just, everything costs more. Lawyers cost more. Driving around cars and we just have more expenses, and we need to review our fees and make sure that we're charging enough to offset the cost to do that maintenance or whatever we're out doing.
Are we passing on the costs that we get from the county to residents? If they charge us more, are we charging more for water?
We have not done a rate, like a water rate increase. We are in the study being done by Baker Tilly right now, and they're going to come back with that rate and say, this is what you're going to need to charge for future rates. You're ready to serve charge and our current rates and what they do.
Any other questions? On the table. Alrighty, if there's no further questions on the 2024 budget with the Appropriations Resolution Act, Madam Clerk, roll call please on approving the resolution.
Trustee Burt,
No.
trustee Fabdon,
Yes.
treasurer Clee,
Yes.
supervisor Miller,
Yes.
trustee King,
Yes.
clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Campbell,
No.
did I miss anyone? I think I got everyone, right?
Got 'em all that time.
Thank you. Action item E is the extractor. Did you want to speak on it?
Yep. With the high rates of cancer and the new information that we receive all the time about this, we're looking to upgrade our current gear washing equipment to something a little bit more industry standard. As we all know, firefighting exposes us to carcinogens that are known to cause cancer. There's been a lot of research and information that's came out in the last decade of, about this topic, and one of the common denominators here is appropriate gear cleaning and decontamination. We currently use residential washers to wash our gear, which were recently purchased just a few years back. However, we'd like to purchase a commercial grade, what they call gear extractor, which actually removes these carcinogens a lot better than what a residential washer would. We then want to repurpose our current washers and dryers in order to be able to wash our duty uniforms and things like that we wear to fires as well. So we're not taking those things home. Currently, that's what we do after fires, things like that. Our uniforms go home with us to wash them, which then can expose our families, and things like that as well. So we're trying to become a cleaner, more cancer aware department, and this equipment will help us do so. So I'd like to recommend that we purchase a fire gear washer extractor from Fire Safety USA for a total of $5,549.95, and I'd like to request that this purchase come from some of the remaining township ARPA funds, if possible.
So a motion would be in order to move forward?
We would move to accept the recommendation of the fire department chief for the gear extractor to be purchased with some of our remaining ARPA dollars at the cost of $5,549.95 from Fire Safety USA for that particular unit.
I'll second it.
Wait. There's a shipping cost too, right?
That's already included in that. That's
Oh, could you- yes, sorry
the
about that.
total
Thank you.
all-in cost. Yep.
So who seconded it?
I
Yeah,
did.
to my left, to my
Any
right.
further questions or discussion? We got the right amount? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Supervisor Miller,
Yes.
treasurer Clee,
Yes.
trustee Fabdon,
Yes.
trustee Burt,
Yes.
trustee King,
Yes.
and trustee Campbell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Action item F. Madam Clerk?
So, in front of you, you have a proposal. With the elections, there's a lot of new rules, and this has happened to be one of them. We have to replace our drop box outside, and this is to have the drop box cemented in. That's the proposal before you. I think you all have had a chance to look at it. Do you have any questions? One is going to be at the senior citizen that we voted on a couple of months ago, and the other one will replace this one out here in the parking lot for our residents to drop off.
That one's going to stay. You're going to have a second one, right?
Yeah, we've got to cement.
Yeah,
that
we
in
just have to
deeper.
take the writing off at this.
Yes,
Right,
Okay.
it says mail.
Yeah,
Will be
so it's
first, they
just
said we
payments
could.
only.
Okay, so yeah, they'll
That'll
be both
payments
out
only,
there.
And this one will be ballot
Ballots.
only.
Yeah, and applications only.
Alrighty. Are you making a motion, Madam Clerk?
I am. I make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Tom.
Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the expenditure in the amount of $2,675 to install the 2 drop boxes, one here at the township offices and one at the senior center, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Before we go to adjournment, we had trustee Campbell give us her resignation, and we need to accept that resignation. Would someone like to make the motion?
I move that we accept the resignation letter presented. I just asked her if that's what she wanted. She said yes. So I move that we accept the letter as presented in her report.
Is there a second to the motion? Support. Any discussion?
I hate to see it happen. Don't want.
Any further discussion? No? All those in favor of accepting the letter of resignation from trustee Deb Campbell signify by saying aye. Aye. I didn't hear everybody vote. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Trustee King,
Yes.
Supervisor Miller,
Yes.
Treasurer Clee,
Nope.
Trustee Fabdog,
Just that way how I feel.
Trustee Vert,
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, no.
Motion passes.
Not unless you can stay, but.
You have to ask her.
I'll say yes.
She. You have to ask her.
Trustee Campbell,
I don't know, I don't think she votes on her own resignation.
no.
She's
she
still on
no.
the board though, doesn't she?
Now she's resigning.
Not till
To
December 31st.
Oh,
Not
I
till December
apologize.
31st.
Yeah,
So
but
she
I'm
has to vote on that.
Yes.
Did Lisa vote on her own resignation? I don't remember.
Oh, my God. We're not
We
gonna
go
worry
to,
about it.
number 13 is adjournment. Our next meeting is January 8th. We'll have a Merry Christmas.
Brett. Okay.
Heading there now.
What do you? Supposed to go to Goodrich. Let me go with you. Okay.
It's up to you.
Supposed to go to Goodrich to a game.
Sounds like it could be a while.
Yeah. Let me know if you need anything. Call me.
Yeah, they went there.